This presentation is on how the foodborne disease called Listeria affects public health. The bacterium responsible for causing Listeria is Listeria monocytogenes, which resides in common environmental components such as soil and water and can also be present in animals. The problem exists in society because of cross-contamination and the bacterium's nature. Like other foodborne illnesses, it grows in a variety of foods, but it's unique because it can grow at very low temperatures and is resistant to some food-preserving chemicals like salt. It continues to exist due to people's lack of awareness of its resistant nature, and sometimes no symptoms appear in affected individuals with healthy immune systems. Thus, the disease goes unreported, which can cause more people to get sick from consuming a harmful source that was not identified and publicly announced. In terms of how the problem happened, Listeria was first classified as a foodborne disease in the 1980s, when many people worldwide got sick from the bacterium from consuming contaminated food and drink. Illness happens when people consume food infected with the bacterium, and they often do so because they don't realize their food's infected, as it can look, taste, and smell perfectly fine but still be contaminated. There's no information on where the first Listeria outbreak occurred, but the bacterium was discovered in 1924 in a lab when researchers were analyzing an infection that caused an epidemic in rabbits and guinea pigs. Because the pathogen resides in water, soil, and animals, which exists basically anywhere in the world, people are prone to Listeria no matter where they are. It can affect those living in wealthy areas, as it can grow in foods on the refrigerator, and also affect poverty-stricken areas due to lack of sanitation equipment and clean water. Listeria poses future risks for the community due to the bacteria's long incubation period. Since symptoms can take up to months to begin, the source of outbreak can be difficult to track and will likely go unreported, making it possible for more people to consume the illness-causing source unknowingly. It's also lethal in many cases, as usually 20 to 30% of infected people die. It's life-threatening and disabling to higher risk groups since they have more chance of developing invasive listeriosis, in which the bacteria spreads beyond their digestive organs to affect other parts of their body. The etiological risk factors that make people more prone to Listeria are those with weak immune systems, such as people with HIV, those over 65, and pregnant women and their fetuses. People who also don't have knowledge about the disease can be more at risk too, since they may not take proper precautions with the food they consume. There hasn't been success in completely stopping Listeria outbreaks from happening in any part of the world. However, governmental and health organizations in America have taken steps to prevent outbreaks from worsening. One intervention focused on identifying the causal source of Listeria outbreaks using whole genome sequencing, in which would let sources of outbreaks be detected faster and earlier. This uses DNA fingerprinting technology, allowing Listeria-causing bacteria from infected individuals to be compared with potential bacteria in other people, foods, and processing facilities. A second intervention was done by the U.S. Foodborne Diseases Active Surveillance Network, which focused on improving surveillance through the Listeria Initiative, in which investigators interview infected individuals as soon as possible to trace the outbreak's cause in order to prevent others from becoming ill. Other countries have taken the initiative to reduce the severity of outbreaks as well. British researchers say the most effective way to lessen the exposure of high-risk groups to Listeria is to inform them. Steps have been taken to ensure that when pregnant women are at prenatal care checkups, they are educated on Listeria. The British government also implemented written guidelines to help high-risk people reduce their chances of infection. The guidelines list food to avoid as well as information on food handling, including specific cooking temperatures to eliminate disease-causing pathogens. Hong Kong also uses surveillance as an effective way to lessen the public's exposure to the bacteria. Health professionals are required by law to report each case to their Center for Health Protection. Investigators also interview patients and household contacts are put under medical surveillance so they can get help quickly if they fall ill. Although there's currently no foolproof way to completely prevent Listeria outbreaks because the bacteria are resistant and knowledge and resources are limited, governmental and health officials can keep the number of diseased people low whenever an outbreak occurs by prioritizing sanitation. In a study done on food processing facilities that made ready-to-eat smoked fish, experts tested for the presence of Listeria-causing bacteria at many stages in the preparation process before and after sanitation. The greatest difference was observed when sanitation was done on fish directly from the environment before processing. The results demonstrated that sanitation is effective, as the percentage of samples that tested positive at this step and other processing steps were reduced as well. Researchers also analyzed domestic refrigerators in homes in Portugal and found that bacteria existed in refrigerators that were cleaned only once a month. From this, researchers concluded that it's crucial all countries be educated on the importance of proper sanitation to effectively lower Listeria outbreaks. In my opinion, future prevention of Listeria can be assured through biologically screening every food or drink for the presence of the disease-causing bacteria before consumption. But this is unrealistic because it costs too much for everyone to buy a device that can do this, and it'd be tedious to screen everything all the time. Therefore, I believe a more feasible approach would be for all people to accept that the bacteria will continue to exist and outbreaks will continue to occur, but organizations can do all they can to educate the public on preventative measures. In turn, people should be willing to learn how daily decisions can reduce their chance of infection, such as by avoiding certain foods and dealing with food carefully. It's also paramount for organizations to focus on high-risk groups through educational programs and distributing accessible guidelines so these people can be aware of the disease and how they too can make informed decisions about food consumption and sanitation.